Hello, it is 10:10. Nothing came through overnight at all. We only have 49 hours to cover rent, and we're not even halfway through. So I don't know what's gonna happen to Mom and I. 2 days. Here's my little foxy. So a lot of my friends and mutuals are suffering with SI right now. And it's all because the world communicates to them that they're worthless by not caring for their needs. Basic needs, housing, food, other essentials like emotional care, accessibility, because they're disabled. Some of them, all of them, actually, yeah. 99% of my mutuals in community. And it's not right. I want to say a week ago or 2 weeks ago, someone told me that when I say that we all have worth, that they believe me for whatever reason. And it sucks because I struggled to believe it myself. For myself, I mean, like, I can look at anyone else and know that they deserve to exist. And it's easier to take all my rage and, hurt myself with it instead of raging against everything else around me that I can't control. Because no matter how much I scream or cry, it seems that people who have resources just keep hoarding and just out of fear of scarcity, even when they have everything they could possibly need and want, and have, their little celebrations about whatever, like territories that killed a whole bunch of people, or album releases, or I don't know. The next video of that made a whole bunch of people have their attention, or the opposite. It's just, I don't know. Those who have just keep keeping, because they're like, oh, someday I might not have enough food, I might not have enough housing. And the thing is that if we invested in community care, we wouldn't need shit like retirement. We wouldn't need shit like emergency funds, because guess who would show up? Your community. If we all just took the time to actually care about one another and not being scared that we're gonna die or get sick or become disabled or get old, which are all inevitable, by the way, if we wouldn't sit there scared out of our minds that that might happen someday, then we would, let go of the chokehold we have on resources that are excess to us, that we have too much of. But a lot of us, who have always been, at the bottom of the barrel with resources, now we have nothing left to give. And you see, the most marginalized have always been the ones who know how to do mutual aid, As far as I've like learned about mutual aid, it was always the black community who is like the most oppressed and the most in need of reparations, who got their shit together and figured out how to take care of each other and not rely on some government that is just waiting to like use them and discard them. But we can sit here and say we're, anti-fascists until our faces go blue or green or yellow or whatever pinky weird color this filter is making my face. But if we're not putting like actions to our words, we're all just, gonna disappear and the cycle continues. Because, I know I'm gonna die. The main reason I want to stay is because my elder deserves dignity and housing and care. So I want to stay because that's what she deserves, and no one else cares about her. No one gives a shit. My brother doesn't. No one else even knows she exists. And my family back home, they can't help her the way she deserves either. Now, when I'm not struggling with SI, suicidal ideation, and self-harm, I do have a lingering dream to help people break the chains of their generational trauma as much as possible so that, the flora and fauna of this earth don't keep suffering the harm of a bunch of human animals, as animals aren't less than humans. Humans are animals. So that the earth doesn't keep falling apart with the sickness that is human fear and cowardice. That's why I would stream. That's why I made music. That's why I made art. The whole time I was like, this could help someone who's in a lot of pain, who can't voice it. Because that's how I grew up. Not allowed to voice any pain without someone, my father, coming down on me. And hurting me or hurting someone I love, hurting someone who protected me, my mom. And then after he was gone, it was my brother. And then after he was gone, it was random people who claimed to love me and care about me. Just absolute decades of neglect and harm. And I never felt like I could talk about it. Because if I did, something bad would happen. So that's what weighs on me every single time I speak. But when I write a song, it's like it's coded. And I can say it without it coming back and hurting someone. And then I remembered all, like, the musicians and everything who helped me just keep that little tiny voice alive. A voice that wants to make the world a better place. And I wanted that for other people, younger people, people who are also in poverty, people who are also facing abuse or neglect. people who think they're worthless. I wanted them to know that they're powerful and that they deserve to speak. But I can't give that anymore because no one seems to care. And I'm crying again. And I need to go check on Mom, and it's 10:22 already. I used to use this filter all the time. Because it was like the only way that my skin looked normal. Only because it wasn't normal.